Hi, and welcome to Stockholm, Sweden's amazing capital. In this comprehensive city travel guide, I will take you to the most important highlights you need to check out when you visit Sweden's capital city. And at the end, I'll provide some additional travel tips on travel times, budget, transport, safety, and more that you may find useful for your next visit of Stockholm. Stockholm boasts a vibrant and diverse urban culture, and the city is home to trendy neighborhoods, world-class museums, historical sites, renowned fashion brands, stylish boutiques, and hip cafes. Built on 14 islands connected by bridges, Stockholm is renowned for its stunning waterfront views, picturesque parks, and lush green spaces. It is one of the world's most livable cities, thanks to its high quality of life, excellent public services, sustainable urban planning, and low crime rates. If you haven't seen it yet, also make sure to check out my full Sweden travel documentary and other city guides in Scandinavia, and subscribe to my channel for more useful travel content. But now, let's get to my top sites to see on your next visit to Stockholm. Let's start our tour of Stockholm at T-Centralen, the central transportation hub in Stockholm that connects various modes of public transportation, including the metro, commuter trains, and buses. T-Centralen is always bustling with activity and is home to a shopping mall, restaurants, cafes, and other amenities. All of this makes it a convenient destination for travelers and commuters, and it may well be the place where you will arrive in Stockholm. Let's head over to Sergels torg, which might be one of the most prominent public squares in Stockholm. It is situated in the Norrmalm district of central Stockholm, adjacent to the busy shopping street of Drottninggatan and the cultural hub of Kulturhuset. The square was designed by the Swedish sculptor Edvin Öhrström and completed in 1960. It features a distinct glass obelisk known as Kristallvertikalaccent, which stands at the center of the square. The square is primarily a pedestrian zone, with wide open spaces, paved walkways, and seating areas where visitors can relax and enjoy the bustling atmosphere of the city center. The square is surrounded by shops, restaurants, cafes, and cultural institutions, making it a vibrant destination for locals and tourists alike. For our next stop, let's head over to Stockholm City Hall, or Stadshuset in Swedish, which is one of Stockholm's most iconic landmarks. It is located on the eastern tip of Kunsträdgarden Island, overlooking Lake Mälaren and the historic Gamla Stan, the Old Town. It serves as the seat of the municipal government for the city of Stockholm. The building is a great example of national romanticism architecture and boasts a red brick facade, sizable tower, and ornate detailing. Completed in 1923, its construction was a monumental undertaking involving thousands of workers and craftsmen who meticulously crafted its intricate details. Today, the City Hall is not only a functional government building, but also a powerful symbol of civic pride and democratic values. Its design and ornamentation celebrate Swedish culture, history, and identity, with references to Norse mythology, medieval traditions, and national symbolism. Every year, the Nobel Price banquet takes place here in the Blue Hall. You can climb up the tower, which stands 106 meters or about 348 feet tall, and offers panoramic views of the city skyline, as well as the surrounding archipelago. From the City Hall, it's a short walk over to Riddarholmen, a small island that is known for its historic significance and architectural beauty. This island was originally the site of a Viking Age settlement and later became a center of power during the medieval period, serving as a location of royal palaces, administrative buildings, and noble residences. And even now, Riddarholmen is characterized by its well-preserved historic architecture, with buildings dating back to the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. The island's narrow streets, cobblestone alleys, and colorful facades certainly evoke a medieval atmosphere. The most famous landmark on Riddarholmen is without a doubt the Riddarholmen Church, also known as the Church of St. Nicholas. Dating back to the late 13th century, this church is one of the oldest buildings in Stockholm and is the final resting place of many Swedish monarchs and members of the royal family. let's head over to the historical beating heart of Stockholm, the Gamla Stan. Gamla Stan stands for Old Town and might be one of Stockholm's most charming and historic neighborhoods. Located on the island of Stockholm, it is known for its medieval architecture, narrow cobblestone streets, and vibrant atmosphere. Coming here is a bit like traveling back in time, and no wonder. Gamla Stan is one of the oldest and best preserved medieval city centers in Europe. It traces its origin back to the 13th century, when Stockholm was founded as a fortress and trading post by Birger Jarl, a Swedish statesman and nobleman. Many of the medieval and Renaissance buildings one can see today date back to the 17th and 18th centuries. The Old Town is home to a wealth of attractions, including museums, galleries, shops, restaurants, and cafes, which I will cover in a moment. For example, make sure to check out the famous Stockholm cathedral, the Strömkajen, which cannot be missed. But it's also just fun to stroll through the pristinely kept medieval alleyways and soak in the atmosphere here. Another important church in the Old Town is the St. Gertrude German Church, also known as Sankta Gertruds Kyrka in Swedish. It was originally built in the mid-17th century to serve the German-speaking population of Stockholm, who were mainly traders and craftsmen. The church underwent several renovations and reconstructions over the centuries, with its current appearance reflecting a blend of Baroque and Rococo architectural styles. Not far from the church, passing many of the historical townhouses of the former German trade community, we head into one of Europe's narrowest streets, the Martin Trotzig's Alley, named after a wealthy merchant who lived in Stockholm in the 1500s. This alley measures only 35 inches at its narrowest point. It is quite easy to miss, so make sure you follow the signs. Due to its narrow width, Martin Trotzig's Grant is not accessible to vehicles and is best explored on foot. But be prepared for a few steep steps and uneven cobblestone surfaces, as the alley is indeed quite narrow and winding in some places. Still in the Old Town, let's visit the central square, the Stortorget. Apart from being one of the most iconic squares in the city, the Stortorget also houses the Nobel Prize Museum, which is dedicated to showcasing the Nobel Prize and its laureates. The Nobel Prize Museum was established in 2001 and features a range of permanent and temporary exhibitions that explore the history of the Nobel Prize, the lives and work of Nobel laureates, and the impact of their contributions on society. Exhibitions cover various disciplines including physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, peace, and economics. It's a fun place to discover, and one can truly get lost in the many amazing interactive displays, especially on a rainy day in Stockholm. Let's continue our walking tour to the Royal Palace, also known as Kungliga Slottet. The palace is without a doubt one of the city's most iconic landmarks and serves as the official residence of the Swedish monarch. Completed in 1754, the Royal Palace is a fantastic example of Baroque architecture, featuring a grand facade adorned with statues, columns, and elaborate decorations. The building features several courtyards and encompasses over 600 rooms, including state apartments, reception rooms, and ceremonial halls. I didn't go inside, but one can explore the royal apartments on guided tours for a fee. Tickets can be purchased on-site or in advance online. The Royal Palace is guarded by the Royal Guards, who stand watch over the palace and perform ceremonial duties. The changing of the guard ceremony takes place daily in the palace courtyard and is quite popular with tourists. But even without the ceremony, it is possible to take pictures of the guards in their lavish uniforms. Just behind the palace is the entrance to Sweden's Parliament House, the Riksdagshuset, seat of the legislative branch of the Swedish government. Completed in 1905, following a neoclassical design by architect Aron Johansson, the Parliament House is characterized by its imposing facade, grand columns and classical design elements. But what surprised me the most is how open and accessible the parliamentary building is. Yes, there is security, but visitors can freely walk up to the entrance and through the inner courtyard. If you want to get even closer to the parliamentary action, the Parliament House is also open to the public for guided tours that cover the history, functions and workings of the Swedish Parliament. Make sure to also check out the views from the adjacent bridge that makes for a great photo spot. Let's continue our tour of Stockholm and head to the Royal Swedish Opera. The Kungliga Operan is one of Stockholm's most prestigious cultural institutions and is renowned for its world-class performances and historic significance. The Royal Swedish Opera has a long and storied history dating back to the 18th century. The current opera house was inaugurated in 1898, replacing the previous building that was destroyed by fire. If you get a chance, catch a performance from the diverse program of productions that ranges from classic operas by composers such as Mozart, Verdi and Wagner to contemporary works and experimental performances. Just behind the opera house, we will get to Kunsträdgarden, which translates as King's Garden. Back in the 17th century, this garden served as the royal kitchen garden for the nearby royal palace. But over the centuries, the garden was transformed into a public park and became a popular gathering place for Stockholm's residents. And today, it is one of the city's most beloved green spaces, known for its beautiful landscaping, mature trees, flower beds and expansive lawns. The park also features sculptures, fountains and outdoor seating areas, making it an ideal spot for picnics, leisurely strolls and outdoor recreation. When you're here, make sure to also check out the Kunsträdgarden metro station, which connects you to one of Europe's most beautiful metros with numerous stations designed by local and international artists. These metro stations are a must-see and they're absolutely stunning. Just a short walk from the park, you can already see the beautiful scenery of Strömkajen, a prominent waterfront area in the Norrmalm district. Strömkajen is known for its scenic waterfront promenade, but Strömkajen is also a major transportation hub for boat tours and ferries that operate in the Stockholm archipelago. From here, you can embark on sightseeing cruises, dinner cruises, and island hopping excursions for a unique perspective of the city from the water. When you're here, make sure to check out the Arc sculpture by Wewei, the renowned Chinese contemporary artist and activist known for its provocative and socially engaged artworks. This large-scale sculpture is made of steel and measures about 6 meters, about 20 feet in height, which creates a visually dynamic and geometrically intricate structure. Right behind the sculpture, you will head onto Skeppsholmsbronn, a historical bridge that connects the mainland to the island of Skeppsholmen. Inaugurated in 1861, the bridge replaced an earlier wooden bridge that had stood on the site before. The elegant wrought iron bridge with a single arc span features gilded crowns as fitting ornaments, as from here one has great views on the royal palace across the bay. Now, we have already arrived at Skeppsholmen Island, which is particularly known for its cultural institutions, green spaces and historical landmarks. Back in the 17th century, the island was used by the Swedish Navy for shipbuilding and naval operations. But over the centuries, it has evolved into a cultural and recreational hub, with many of its historical buildings repurposed to house museums, galleries and cultural institutions. Most notable might be the Museum of Modern Art, which features a world-class collection of modern and contemporary art, and the Architecture and Design Center, which showcases exhibitions on architecture, design and urban planning. And art seems to be everywhere here. Check out the colorful sculpture park with the mobile, iconic Nana figure installations by French-American artist Niki de Saint-Phal. let's head over to Kastellparken, a scenic park located on the island of Kastellholmen, just behind the neighborhoods of Norrmalm and Skeppsholmen. Back in the 17th century, the Kastellet fortress was built on the island to defend Stockholm from maritime attacks. The fortress was later converted into a naval base and served various military purposes over the centuries. Today, Kastellholmen is primarily known for its scenic park and historical landmarks. The fortress itself features well-preserved ramparts, bastions and cannons, offering visitors a glimpse into Stockholm's military history. For a real fun and truly Swedish experience, let's continue our tour and head over to Djurgarden, one of Stockholm's most beautiful islands, known for its parks, museums and recreational activities. Here, you can find the very popular Abba Museum, which of course is dedicated to the legendary Swedish pop group Abba. The museum provides fans and visitors an immersive and interactive experience that celebrates the music, career and legacy of Abba. The museum was created in collaboration with the members of Abba and features a wealth of memorabilia, artifacts and interactive exhibits. You can even become a fifth member of Abba here, but make sure to get your tickets early or book online, as the ticket line can be quite long. As our last museum visit, let's walk over to one of the most important attractions of Stockholm and perhaps all of Sweden. If there's one place to visit in the city, this must be the one. The Vasa Museum is a renowned maritime museum that is entirely dedicated to the Vasa, an iconic 17th century warship that dramatically sank on its maiden voyage in 1628. The Vasa remained submerged for over 300 years until it was rediscovered and salvaged in 1961. After being submerged in the brackish waters of the Baltic Sea for centuries, the Vasa was carefully raised to the surface using advanced techniques and equipment. The ship was then meticulously restored and preserved to its former glory, providing valuable insights into 17th century shipbuilding techniques and maritime history. The centerpiece of the Vasa Museum is of course a ship gallery, where you can see the nearly intact remains of the Vasa itself. The ship is displayed in a specially constructed dry dock, allowing visitors to view it from multiple levels and angles. The Vasa's towering masts, elaborate carvings, intricate ornamentation and imposing size are simply awe-inspiring. Similar to the Abba Museum, you will not be alone. With about 1 million visitors per year, the Vasa Museum is one of the most popular museums of all of Scandinavia. Make sure to come early or get your tickets online, and definitely check it out. Even if you're not a fan of maritime museums, this one is a must-see. Okay, now that we've covered some of the top highlights of Stockholm, let's get into a few more tips that you may find useful for your next visit of Sweden's capital city. When is the best time to visit Stockholm? Well, the best time to visit Stockholm is probably the summer. While it's the tourist peak season, you will get the best weather, most sunny days, and an overall enjoyable outdoor experience. But if you're mainly coming to visit museums, you may also opt for the less busy shoulder seasons, when you can visit many of the attractions without the crowds. How long should you plan for your visit to Stockholm? How much time you can spend in the city will naturally depend on your time constraints and other travel plans you may have in Sweden. I'd say that at a very minimum, you would want to spend at least 2 days in the city. For a more relaxed visit, 3 to 4 days would of course be better. There's so much to see in Stockholm, and it's always advisable not to be in a rush when traveling and exploring new places. Where to stay in Stockholm? Stockholm offers a variety of accommodation options to suit different preferences and budgets. Several hotels are available throughout the city, but for the best value for money and a more local experience, you may want to consider renting a private apartment or house on one of the vacation rental platforms. How to get around in Stockholm? Getting around in Stockholm is quite easy, thanks to its efficient public transportation system and relatively compact layout. Stockholm city centre is very pedestrian friendly, making walking one of the best ways to explore the area. But the city also has an extensive bus and metro network and is connected by a railway. Is Stockholm expensive? Stockholm, like pretty much all cities in Sweden, is on the expensive side by international standards. Not quite as expensive as the neighbouring Norway, the relatively high cost of living, high wages and taxes contribute to the overall higher prices for goods and services. Hotels and rental accommodations are likely the biggest cost factor, but eating out in restaurants can also quickly become very pricey, with meals and drinks costing more compared to many other countries. To save cost, it can be a good idea to buy your own groceries and snacks in a supermarket and cook your meals in an accommodation with a kitchen facility. If you need an IKEA market, check out the yummy and affordable food there for a uniquely Swedish culinary experience. But entrance fees to museums, attractions and tours will likely also be higher compared to other destinations, so factor this into your travel budget. What to bring for a visit to Stockholm? Like in most of Sweden, the weather can be a bit unpredictable and rainfall is rather frequent, especially outside the summer months. So a waterproof and windproof jacket is essential to stay dry and comfortable. Pack clothing suitable for layering, including t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, sweaters and a warm jacket. An umbrella or rain poncho can provide additional protection during heavy rainfall. In the colder months, make sure to pack a hat, gloves and scarf to protect against the elements. Wear comfortable shoes for walking and exploring the city. I always carry a lightweight day pack or backpack that can be useful for essentials such as water bottles, snacks and a camera while exploring the city and surrounding areas. And of course bring your smartphone or your camera for taking photos and videos of the city's scenic landmarks. Is Stockholm safe? Yes, Stockholm is generally considered a very safe destination for travelers. Sweden in general has low crime rates compared to many other countries, and Stockholm is no exception. However, like in any city, it's important to take common sense precautions to ensure your safety. Just remain vigilant and keep an eye on your belongings. Exercise caution and avoid poorly lit and deserted areas, especially at night. So here we go. With this, I wish you happy travels to Stockholm. Please give this video a like and leave me a comment down below. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel to get updates on my latest travel videos and tips. And make sure to also check out my other videos on beautiful Sweden and Scandinavia. Looking forward to seeing you soon again. Have a good one.